Hello fellow hunters, welcome to Grunge Haunts and Props. My name is Chris Leonardo and today we are making an Alien Xenomorph Bust. Always loved the Alien movie franchise and always wanted to make something that's completely alien. And so today we made the Alien Xenomorph head and it turned out really cool. So follow along and enjoy the video.
Okay, well, I've got a pile of scrap foam here that I saved. Dollar store Easter egg and some flex tubing. I got some of this from Home Depot. Some of the 5mm stuff I got it just off Amazon, and this is just a spare, I think, vacuum tube that I found. So just some extra pieces. I use these for a lot of my my steampunk masks that I make. I use this tubing for that. We're going to use one of my skulls, foam skulls that I cast. Those cost like $1 to make, and of course a can of Loctite foam, and we are going to make a Xenomorph alien head. At least we're going to attempt to. So follow along and see how it goes. Okay, we put together some styrofoam pieces I have. We want this to be about 5 to 6 inches wide. So I'm kind of, this will be, the head is going to be tapering. So, just you want to arrange them so that you have the longest piece in the middle, and then just kind of sandwich it with other pieces, gradually getting smaller towards the top and bottom. So we're just going to throw all these together, glue them together with some clear Gorilla Glue. For Gorilla Glue to activate, it needs water. So spray down with water.
Okay, we got the styrofoam glued together, and now we're going to just do a trace, kind of an outline of the head. It's kind of wonky how it's shaped here, so we don't want to go too far. We don't have a lot of foam on the top. Okay, it's going to be really loud here. I've got 2 fans going, and I'm wearing a respirator, so this puts off a lot of fumes, and I'm trying to carry these fumes outside. So I've got a fan here to blow it into the other fan, and that's carrying it all the way to the outside. So we're just going to power this up and let it heat up and just follow this line. And, you can kind of get the rough shape on it. And now we're going to end up carving this anyways, so see how it goes. So now we're going to be doing a rough shape. This is going to be kind of rounded on the top. So we've got a lot to work with here, a lot of excess material. So we'll just, keep going. After looking at the reference photo, it turns out I need to just kind of keep excavating a lot more of this. We're going to be adding tubes and other Loctite layer, so I want this to be a little bit more streamlined. Okay, we tripped the breaker. Guess that's a good time to stop. Okay, again, we got this from the dollar store. It's just an Easter egg. They've got like these medium-sized Easter eggs at the dollar store, and let's go like that. One side of it's clear of the shell, and so I'm going to use that for kind of the dome. It's going to have like a mini dome on this. It's a little bit too wide, so if I just set it on there, I can't just glue it right on. It's a little too wide, so I am going to put it into clamps here and heat gun it so that we change the shape just a little bit. Okay, that's probably good. Now we're just going to spray it down with a water bottle. Hopefully that does the trick. I'm going to leave it in the clamp for a little while, and then we'll take it out later. Okay, we got the styrofoam more or less where we want it. Again, you know, we're going to be sculpting Loctite on top of this, so it doesn't look pretty. You know, it's kind of delaminating, but it's all going to be, you know, glued together basically with spray foam. So, yeah, so let's try. I'm going to try to do the head area first and see how that's going to go. I want to do the whole top before I do the bottom area. I have a feeling I'm going to, on this half, obviously I still have to do the jaw. I think I'm going to have to do a little more excavating of the foam because we're going to be putting tubes and all sorts of other stuff, adding bulk to that. So I just want to see what it's going to look like on the top shell once we finish that, and then we'll start the bottom. So we're going to wire this down, and yeah, so if we were sculpting our hands, we would wait 5 minutes, wait for it to get a skin. But since we're doing saran wrap, I just want to wait 2 minutes and then wrap this on there. And the reason I'm doing this saran wrap and a little bit early is that I want it to merge together. I don't want it to have all the bumps and everything, and I want it to be nice and smooth. Okay, we're gonna let that sit for a little bit. We're gonna monitor this because it is going to expand, and we want to kind of knock it down when it does, so it doesn't just get all weird. All right, this is fully expanded, and we can take the saran wrap off. And you can see it's kind of a smooth texture. I kind of like that. Not perfect, but that worked out fairly well. So I think that's exactly what we're going to do for the rest of the top shell. First things first, let this dry, and then we're going to fully paint in this part and then put the shell on. And we'll end up taping that off, masking that while we work on the rest of it. But once we put the mask or the shell on, you know, skull has to be painted. Everything inside has to be completely done. So we'll work on that, and then we'll do the rest of the shell. I really do like this bone color from the Worth spray, but I need these to match, and so I'm just going to do it all with just camo color. And now we're going to use just a little bit of Home Depot black for the shadows, and it is going to melt a little bit of the styrofoam. I'm not that too concerned about it. Again, we're going to be doing Loctite over it, and you can spray paint Loctite no problem. So it's going to cause a little bit of damage, no big deal. Okay, and just a quick black wash on these. Decided I'm going to do a brown wash instead. You know, this is already pretty dark, so I'm just going to do a brown wash to get into all the crevices and make it a little brighter than normal. Perfect. I'm going to just dust this with a little bit of black spray paint. I want it on the inside so it's still shiny on the outside. I'm just using some flat Home Depot black, as always. You got to be careful, you know, you got one shot at this. You don't want to get too much on it. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Just want it to be a little bit cloudy, so I did a, you know, just a far away mist, and then got the edges. I want those to be a little darker, a little grungier. Okay, for the shell, we're going to use a combination of clear Gorilla Glue and hot glue. Put the clear Gorilla Glue on to really solidify the bond, and then the hot glue will just kind of hold it in place until the Gorilla Glue fully bonds. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, we will let that dry. That's gonna look cool. Okay, the shell here is pretty dry enough that we can go to the next step. And so I'm using this 5mm. This is like a computer conduit split cable. I'm gonna put this as kind of a border for the top shell that we're going to make with Loctite foam. And I'm just going to use needles and Gorilla Glue to put this together. Okay, the downside to Gorilla Glue is that, you know, it takes 24 hours to fully cure. So that's unfortunate when you're, you know, trying to get things done on the project. I waited 2 hours. We're going to go ahead and, you know, it's supposed to be dry to touch after 2 hours. So we're going to go ahead and take the needles out. I did add a little bit of hot glue in there just to help hold it in place. But we need to get the other side done today. Okay, we've got the conduit glued in on both sides. It's ready to go. You know, this is kind of nerve-wracking. I'm not sure if I'm going to just destroy everything or if this is going to look really cool. So okay, here we go. We got our large strip of saran wrap. We're just going to place it over and squish it down. Okay. So I didn't put enough of the Loctite foam on the first pass with the saran wrap. Tried to patch it up, and you know, it looks patched up, so you can clearly see where I added more foam on top of the other foam. I don't like that look. You know, if you're going to try this, make sure you get it all in one go with the first attempt with Loctite. So I'm going to do, I guess, what a secondary idea, turn this into the Xenomorph Warrior, because I'm just not liking the shell as it is with patched up like this. So, so I'm going to add just a kind of line of little spikes here on the top, and then I'll add some more Loctite detail, kind of go over all of this stuff. So it'll change up the design a little bit. Still, hopefully will look cool. So here we go. So we're just kind of pinching it and turning it into just kind of spines here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we're going to put some more conduit here, and then we'll do some more foam work. All right, we're gonna Gorilla Glue this and let it sit. All right, while the tubes are setting up, we're gonna leave the pins in, and we're gonna do just some lines of Loctite on here, and they have this kind of alien looking on the Xenomorph Warrior. They have these kind of alien, almost look like ribs, but it's just this kind of like a shell design on the top half of the head. So I'm just going to kind of draw an outline using my reference photo and just kind of loosely follow that with the Loctite. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'll let that fully dry, and then we'll do the other side. Okay, so I'm trying to think long and hard about how I'm going to do the mouth and jaw. So I think I'm just going to use some armature wire. Just stick it right into the foam. Have it come out here as kind of a guide to put some foil on, and then we will Loctite on top of that. And I think that'll be, I mean, of course, we still got to put teeth and figure that out as well. But yeah, I think that should be enough. I might have to do something different for the lower jaw. We'll see how it goes. I'm thinking about the bar. Maybe I'll put the bar in later. I think I'm just going to use this foil and glue it right in the inside of this shell. Call it good. I mean, I want it to be on inside because we're still going to have Loctite on the outside. And I don't, in the reference photos, his lip and upper jaw does not protrude outside of the shell. In fact, it tapers down. So I'm going to get some hot glue and glue it in. And while we wait for that to dry, we are going to make a board or tube around the mask here. Okay. We are going to let that fully dry. All right, we're going to put just a little bead of foam here, and we do not want this to fully expand, so we are going to spray it down with water and knock it down. We don't want this big poofy piece of, insulation foam sticking out here. So after we spray it, we'll put the water on it, wait 5 minutes, we'll knock it down. Okay, so we're going to be making some teeth here, and I want to get those in on the upper jaw before we do the lower jaw. Two ways I've thought about doing the teeth. One is I'm just going to try to make some teeth with hot glue and see what that looks like. Hopefully it doesn't burn through this plastic cutting board. And then I could also use like a poly sculpt where you put these beads of plastic and heat them up in hot water, and then you can form them and sculpt them with your hands. Hopefully the hot glue works. It's a lot more inexpensive, so we'll see. I'm just going to make a bunch of different teeth and kind of figure out which ones are going to be the best. And I'm just kind of putting more material at the top and then just slowly kind of doing a teardrop. Okay. I think it's enough. We'll let those cool and see what they look like. Okay, we have some teeth to work with here, so let's see if we're ready. Alright, we've got the teeth. We're just going to start gluing it in. I've got it kind of sorted out here, smallest to largest, and just going to start sticking them in there. Okay. Those are the top teeth. Now we're going to lock these in with some Loctite. Okay, so we're going to just mask up the dome. We're going to do a little bit of pre-painting just in the mouth. I don't want to have to do that after we put the lower jaw in. Just some black shadows. But before I do any spray painting, I want to mask off this dome. So we're going to do that next. Okay, for the lower jaw, I'm going to use another piece of armature wire here, and I'm going to bend it to stick it right into the styrofoam. Okay, because it no longer sits nice and flat because we're going to be working on this lower jaw, I would put it on just a piece of PVC pipe here. And just do this exactly like we did the upper jaw. I'm just going to be using a lot more foil. Okay, we're going to put it back on its side here and do just 1/2 at a time. Just, I think it's going to be too much gravity pulling down the Loctite. And I don't want it to be all droopy and out of place. Okay, we're letting the Loctite fully dry on the jaw, and now we're going to make more teeth. I liked how those looked, and so we're going to continue doing the hot glue method, but we're going to go big and make big teeth. All right, we got that side in. Now we've got to do the Loctite on the back and lock it in. Okay, we're gonna just quickly mask the teeth off here, and then doesn't have to be anything super special, but we're gonna end up basing this whole thing with gloss, Home Depot gloss black. Okay, we are finally to the fun part, where we're going to put the tubes all over, starting with the large one right underneath the top shell. So it's pretty easy to work with these. We're going to just hot glue them in, and then of course again we'll do some Loctite. But we're just going to cut. You can cut these just with scissors. Okay, I'm just going to glue this stuff down. And I'm just using the different sized tubes here. Figure something out that'll work. It looks cool. Okay, I mean, I could keep doing this all night, I suppose. But I kind of want to get done with it and just, move on to the next step. So, I think this looks good enough. I think it has enough tubing in there, make it look cool. I'm just going to do some Loctite on here and see what it looks like. All right, I'm gonna water that down and we'll sculpt it. Okay, we're going to be letting this dry, and then we'll paint it. Okay, this is the last step. We could be done right now. We don't. It looks cool just the way it is. I really like how the teeth turned out, and the tubes. I think those look really, really neat. It's all, you know, just painted gloss black, and we could be finished. But I'm gonna try to do just kind of like a some barge cement, like a little bit of a corpsing layer. I want to make it look like there's some, you know, saliva dripping down, and then make this a little more, I guess, organic looking. So we're gonna try some barge cement and just see what that looks like. Worst case, you know, we can just repaint it all black again. So a technique I'm going to use just like what I use when I corpsing skulls or skeletons. Just put some barge cement on the brush and then use a blow dryer to make the webbing. Okay, what I want to do there, do you want to try putting a little bit more in here with some acrylic black paint and see if it looks cool with like a kind of a black kind of a black webbing. We'll see. That actually looks very cool. Okay, really happy with how that looks on this side and all over the bottom part. And we're going to do it on this side as well. All right, let's take off the mask on the dome and see what it looks like. You know what? I mean, the jaw's too big. I get that, but I'm really happy with this. That looks cool. And here is the final product: Alien Xenomorph head. Hey, if you enjoyed this tutorial, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring that bell to get notifications anytime we put out new content. I thank you for watching, and as always, happy haunting!